That's almost as good as a Taylor Swift show. You know what I mean? It's Jim Check with Kelowna now. I've got with me
In the
our
pa-
own Taylor Swift,
oh, I'm in the passenger seat.
Kent Mulgat of Kelowna now. And we're here with a really big show. And we're going to kick things off in Kelowna, the good, bad, and the ugly, Kelowna's tourism numbers. And Steve McNall did this story. Hotel occupancy and rates are up. Tourist spending is off slightly, and short term rentals in a free fall. Who would have guessed? Um, so we've got a little bit of chart there. I think we can put it up there if I just slide over, if Rommel puts it up. Short-term rentals, obviously, you got that chart there, Rommel? Short-term rentals obviously off because of the BC NDP regulations on short-term rentals. So
and,
off,
and, and local as well.
yeah, off dramatically, right? 27% reservations down in Kelowna. Uh, there you go. So visitor spending also off, which you would think with inflation those numbers would go up, but visitor spending compared to 2023 off from $401 million to $395 million. And that's where our tourism industry is really hurting, right?
Right.
So
Okay, but that is not a dramatic number.
it should go up. Anyway, Kent here with,
Yeah.
he's the accountant here.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a numbers
It's
guy,
it's
but
not a dramatic drop off, but
I'm not a numbers guy.
you would
But
like to see an increase.
1.7% is not
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
You would like to
Of
see an increase, right?
course you would.
Another by-election, another loss for the federal Liberals. A by-election here in BC. This was a seat held by a Liberal and handily won by the Conservatives. No surprise there.
Right.
No surprise. So Tamara Jansen returning to Ottawa as an MP, and that if we have a spring election, that could be the shortest by-election
Yeah.
cost. And
Okay. At risk of taking us into a back eddy here, but something I mentioned to you prior to this broadcast, as we see the federal liberals kind of imploding at the moment, and the chances of an election sooner than later loom.
yeah.
Here we have a city with a serious affordability issue. It's in line for what was it, 30 million plus coming
Oh, so we're
from the
really going down a
feds.
rabbit hole. We have the mayor in today, so great question.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, and the question that we need to ask is with this, what was it, 30 million plus that Kelowna
37 million
was going to get to help
on the
uh,
Housing
in the
Accelerator Fund, the
housing
HAF.
sector, right? Uh,
Is that at
does
risk?
that all just disappear after we pick up the
That's a
pieces?
great question, and I will ask that today.
Can they get
I
a
don't know if Kent is sitting in with me. He still hasn't decided or not, but we'll see. So the Housing Accelerator Fund, Kelowna promised $37 million, and that was in tranches though too, right? It wasn't all at once. And the
right?
city of Kelowna did reach out at one point and
At
say,
what point
"Can
does
we
a
get that
federal
money up front?"
promise like that have a signature on it that no future government can stop? Like, do they have any guarantees?
I don't think so. Um, Again, a lot of reaction in Ottawa right now. A lot of pressure for Justin Trudeau to resign. And there's a breaking 60 Liberal MPs, that's 40% of his caucus, have signed a document asking him to step aside. He did a speech last night, though, at a fundraiser, a Christmas fundraiser for Liberals. You can put up that tweet there, Rommel. He did a fundraiser last night, and he talked like nothing was going on. Like he was
Nothing to
definitely
see here, folks.
he was just like, Canada loves me, and I don't know if he said that, but I mean, he said he loves Canada, and he's going to do the work that Canadians asked him to do. A lot of people asking him not to do any more work,
Yeah.
including Catherine McKenna, a former Liberal MP, saying, if you put that tweet up, every Liberal MP should be calling on the Prime Minister to resign. No, he doesn't get to spend Christmas thinking about it. That's what Tom McLaren said. Oh, you should have Christmas think about it. He said the surest way to elect a Conservative majority and lose all progress we've made is him to stay. I think a lot of Liberals are saying like their only hope they have is to change the leader. And there's a lot of people who are saying they would love to see Justin Trudeau in the next election because, I think he's the only one that wants to. Even his own party, I don't think wants him to lead them into the next election. But
I don't know.
he
It
gets
seems
to
to
call
me
the
that
shots, though.
it seems to me the best they can hope for is to avoid an annihilation in the next election. Winning it
Uh,
with
and a,
any leader seems.
and a not so good tweet from Donald J. Trump last night on his Truth Social. The great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigns. Fair enough. Or was fired. Again, fair enough, right? Because, she said step aside and she just quit. From a position by Governor Justin Trudeau, they're shocked. His behavior is totally toxic and not all conducive to making deals which are not very good for the unhappy citizens of Canada. I think that's fair game. And then just kind of mean here at the end, she will not be missed. Um, Typical Donald Trump style, but
Yeah.
it's
So that's how he's going to refer to Canada going forward,
he definitely, again, just
calling us,
in his
you
defense,
know,
not that I want to defend him, in his defense, for 3+ years, Trudeau and the Liberals have attacked him and used his name as a slur against Pierre Poilievre. So I guess in his mind, fair game. We won't stick there. We won't go down this rabbit hole though, because Ken's making faces, right?
that's all I can do. All I've got is to make faces.
Terry Fox is going to be on the new $5 bill. That's a good thing. That's a, you know what I mean? He does. If anybody deserves to be on the $5, well, on any bill, it would be Terry Fox.
Yeah.
A
Everybody loves Terry
great
Fox.
uniter of Canada, and a you know like a story that most Canadians can be proud of.
Yeah. What a guy.
We need a little bit of that in this world, right? And here's some good news on Canada's inflation rate. It ticked down to 1.9. Again, if things keep going up and they just start to stall and going up, they're going to come down, right? That's how numbers work. But yeah, so, but still better, right? And that
Yeah.
was driven mostly by the lower mortgage rate interest because we've seen about 1.75 cut already and cheaper travel. Things that have not slowed down a little bit is food still on the rise. So definitely we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but our weaker dollar not going to help in the next little while on that. So
No, but even, I mean, the rise in food slowing down, which is part of that number.
yeah,
So it's, yeah, that's
yeah.
some good news.
Another school shooting in the United States. Tragically, it was at a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, and so far, 2 people were killed and several others wounded in the shooting. Yeah, so sad news. Too many of those school shootings. Way too many. Way too many. This sounds like it was a young person doing the shooting again, right? So markets. We're going to lead with the Canadian dollar. You know, um, and we've been talking about this now for it's got to be going on a couple 3 weeks now that the Canadian dollar is going to plunge below 70 cents, and here we go today, 69. And like some economists in Canada calling for the low 60s, which will not be good for food costs, especially imported foods. Like a lot of fruit comes from south of the border,
Yeah.
including Chile, South America, and all that stuff. So a lower Canadian dollar hurts the consumer. A lower Canadian dollar helps our exporters. So
Yeah.
it's a great boon for exporters, even for the oil industry, right? Because you're paying wages in Canadian dollars and getting U.S. dollars in exchange. Anybody that's selling it to USD is going to do well, but consumer is definitely going to hurt from
I was recently in the States and we had a crab dinner.
this.
And then, when you put the credit card out, somehow I won. And anyway, so to pay for the crab dinner, we're taking out a new mortgage.
Yeah, and it's sad like that for anybody that has a U.S. vacation. Like I'm going to Las Vegas here January 5th.
Yeah.
So I'll be eating at Sonic Burger. We don't have the charts because I was in a rush today. Um, but we do know that gold, again, chopping a little bit lower, but it's hanging on to that $2,600 mark. And then Bitcoin, again, just on fire, 107,497 right now in US dollars, just completely on fire. Lots of like, if the winds are blowing a certain way, they're definitely blowing the way of Bitcoin, right? And the US markets, and that it's just, um,
Right, because the overall market was down 0.5%
yeah,
in the States, was it not?
yeah. But like
That's
if you invest in U.S. stocks right now, you're winning just on the Canadian dollar alone, right? It's a messy situation for sure. A couple of things. We got a little Tesla thing here. Tesla on fire since the election win too, and also most people recognizing that Tesla is not just a car company. Autonomy and Optimus playing into it. A lot of the analysts have um, um, worked their targets in that, and they're working in autonomy and they're working in uh, robots. And so big move for Tesla and a short squeeze going on, obviously, because the stock has moved dramatically in the last little while. So and up again today.
okay.
Uh,
Well, walk us through that. How much is it up?
well, it hit 42. I think currently it's in the 473 range. US,
Okay.
these are
And what
US
was it
dollars.
at? What's
What,
the,
like a couple months ago?
yeah, so
Like
it's,
as low as in the $150 mark, $160 mark. So,
that's
um,
substantial.
Yeah, so I think the low in April was around $140. So, and then since November, it was at 240. Since November, it has gone up to, it's banging on the door 500.
Amazing.
And then we've had that IPO. We talked about it. Another Canadian retailer, because in Canada we've got some pretty famous retailers. Lululemon is a Canadian-born company right here out of British Columbia with Chip Wilson, and we
Yeah.
also have Aritzia, a Canadian company, and also now Garage, right? So it went IPO'd just a little while ago at around $20, 21, 20, 20, $21. They released information, their earnings. Um, I think that's a Ritzy you have up there. Go back one is the Garage. Well, anyway, that's Garage there. There you go. Revenue increased by 17% to $258 million. People buying a lot of stuff at Garage, right? You don't shop there, I don't think, eh?
Not. I don't often buy my clothes at Garage.
There you go. So good numbers from Garage, and the stock was up today. So obviously it felt good in the market too. Garage having, it's up like marginally today, but an IPO sometimes gets stuck at the IPO level and it's moving up. Aritzia, another Canadian stock, Aritzia. Again, Globe and Mail reports in Tuesday edition that investors are pricing in a lot of optimism for the new Trump presidency, and that is being shown in the markets overall, expecting lower taxes and higher corporate profits, which bode well for the markets. And the stock markets have responded really well. And so is Bitcoin to the Trump administration. Lots of people coming to the table. Most of the high tech giants, Meta, Amazon, Apple, the other day, Google, they've all already been to see him, and they're all talking about this golden age that they expect out of the United States. And SoftBank coming to the table with $100 billion investment in the United States, creating 100,000 jobs. Also, in the negotiation, Trump did a 1 hour press conference yesterday. Had I can't remember the guy's name now, the SoftBank CEO up there, Miso, um, and said, "Can you do double? Can you double it? Can you do 200 billion?" He said, and he said, "Well, I'll work on it." Right. So huge investment, huge investment, and then crazy investment. AI. This is something Kent's gonna love. This. Um, Google released VO2, a new state-of-the-art AI video model. Can you play that clip? In testing, VO beats OpenAI Sora both in quality and prompt adherence. So this video we're going to show you is, Rommel's saying we're not going to show you. Well, you see if you can plug away at it. Any chance? So these OpenAI released Sora the other day, and then we've seen that Coca-Cola. I don't know if you saw it, the Coca-Cola video that they typically do, that polar bear kind of Coca-Cola commercial.
Yeah.
That was all created with AI. So these AI models are kind of creating some really wild videos. So we see what they can do with photos, but like looks like Rommel might be getting something there for us. We can look, there you go. And if Kent just slides over a bit, you can kind of see it. There you go.
All right. And
That's all AI generated. Who doesn't want a giant dog?
was that a giant dog?
Looked like a giant dog.
Like a regular sized dog to me. This. So okay.
That's
All
good, Rommel.
generated by AI, but I mean, it looks like that AI has collected actual images of real people and dogs, and
It's all created by AI. Yeah. It's all generated by AI, not collecting dogs and morphing them. It's actually generated by AI.
all right.
It's breaking your brain, I
Yeah,
know.
a little bit.
Harvard to release 1 million books for AI training. That's one of the things these AI models need is lots of data and lots of data. And that's where we're seeing some lawsuits. We have a lawsuit here in Canada against most of the news outlets, not most, some of the news outlets are suing OpenAI for
Right, for just
taking their content
taking their
and
content.
learning from it. That's where X has an advantage because you put it on X, it's already like that's where Elon gets a ton of content for free. So data is one of the things that Elon Musk has been really good at capturing with Teslas. Anybody that drives a Tesla, the Tesla's gathering data and giving that back to Tesla. X is like every time you post on X, and X is really definitely for a lot of people one of the places that they post. Even Chrystia Freeland, we found out that she resigned. She put it on X. She didn't call a press conference and do that. She just put it on X, and then She hasn't done a press conference yet. EV world. Lion Electric expects to file for bankruptcy amid EV pushback. And this is the one that the Quebec government invested 177 million. Lots of other people invested in it too so far, and the federal government put in 30 million. That's where we're seeing a lot of the Canadian investment into EV technology has been to not the top tier players, like not into Tesla and stuff like that. Like I think Ontario did something with Honda.
Yeah.
BC did something with, I think it was, I might get this name wrong, might have been Samsung. And they said, well, they can't even do that. They canceled it because they said they need to fix their problems back in China before they expand here. I think they're going for second tier and also giving out a lot of corporate welfare while they're doing it, which doesn't make a lot of sense. We should be investing in top tier companies like SoftBank. United States getting $100 billion from SoftBank. SoftBank is one of the leading technology investors. Those are the kind of companies we should be trying to attract. Good news, though, is Kevin O'Leary is trying to put together a $70 billion deal for Alberta to build a huge data center in the north. One of the reasons for that is access to energy, and two is the colder weather because those computers generate a lot of heat, right? So just open the doors.
I don't know. You know more about this than me, Jim, but I don't get super happy, excited about, $100 billion of Chinese investment.
Japanese, by the way. SoftBank is Japanese.
See, that is terrible that I made that mistake. But how much, control comes with that level of investment?
Well, Japan has been a great partner for the United States for a long,
Yeah.
long time. Japan and the United States have shared really good trade relationships for a long time, way before Trump and likely way after him. Japan and the United States are definitely great trade partners. But again, SoftBank, one of the leaders in technology in the world, like
Right.
one of the world
But
leaders.
is there not any caution about that, that sudden large amount of foreign investment and what?
He has stated publicly, if you have $1 billion or more to invest in the United States, they will fast track you and try to get regulation out of your way. So that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to build jobs in the United States. They're trying to do a lot of things, and that's a giant sucking sound where capital is going to go to the United States as opposed to Canada. And that's what we're having right now. It's really hard to invest in Canada when we have all these kind of like structural problems in Canada, and we have a lot of structural problems that we need to work through. And a lot of that hinges on, if the Liberal Party itself can find its footing, and I think the answer to them is if they want to remain as a party, they need to make the hard decision and talk Justin into resigning.
There's some good news.
Yeah, we got some good news,
on your
and Kent's
list
going to
there.
love this. We're in the good news section.
Who's that right now?
The WNBA is going to play its first international regular season game in Vancouver, and Kent's got a young lady in his family there, his daughter, that is plays at a high level of basketball. So obviously this sounds like a good thing. They take your daughter.
Great to see that.
Yeah. So for the first time in nearly 30 years history of the women's NBA, regular season will be played outside the U.S. when the Seattle Storm faced the Atlanta Dream. So that big star in the States, you know her name, I imagine, right? The big female star.
Right.
You know her name?
Well, Caitlin
Yeah. You know her last name?
Clark.
Just a test. And our last good news story, big dump of fresh snow. So if you're going up there this weekend, 30 centimeters or more over the next 24 hours.
Right. Okay. This is something that I wanted to check this morning because you're hearing it on the radio and elsewhere where you get your news. 30 centimeters, a foot of snow on the higher elevations.
Yeah.
Today we're not getting that down here in Kelowna.
That's perfect.
A couple of centimeters. So it's like don't travel. You're going to be fine here. There is more on the way, but it doesn't seem that it's excessive the way it is at the higher elevations, which is kind of nice to put the snow on the mountains.
Because it saves us trucking it up there, right?
Yeah.
I know that's great news for the weekend, and it's got a huge base already too. So compared to last season, this is a great snow season so far.
Yeah, perfect. Some fresh pow for Christmas. That's nice.
Pow. Yeah. So if you the mountain has a lot of different things to do other than skiing too. If you're not a skier or snowboarder, you sit in some of the new restaurants they got going on there. There's skating, and then there's
it's
tubing
beautiful up there.
Yeah, and if you got nothing to do for New Year's, there's a New Year's light show here, and then there's a fireworks show at Big White as well. So there you go. So there's some good news for you. And that's all we got for today. Again, Jim Check with Kelowna Now, Kent Mulga with Kelowna Now, and hopefully tomorrow we got some more good news to fill up the good news a lot more than we fill up
Yeah, I
the
think we should start with
negative stuff.
that tomorrow.
Start with the good
I won't
news.
be
No,
so
we got to end
grumpy.
with the good news. We got to end. You don't want to leave
Right.
people with
Start
bad.
and I don't know.
Snow and you guys did that parade video yesterday too, right?
Well, on the weekend, Nick
Yeah.
was there recording the parade, and great reviews. We spoke with the Downtown Kelowna Association about it. Mostly super positive, but getting that many people downtown, dealing with the parking and the traffic, really, there's no way you can organize that. That's not going to be a small nightmare about the parking and the traffic. I think it's up to the community itself, individual people to say, how am I going to manage that? Like, you know, going down earlier, going for dinner afterwards, doing things to not join the crowd and all try to leave downtown with the roads blocked off at the same time. I mean, that's something that the authorities and the planners can't fully make, perfect for people. They'll get it better next year.
2 o'clock today. We have Mayor Tom Dias in. If you have some questions, feel free to ask. But we have them in. We're going to talk budget. We're going to talk other things. We're going to ask that question too. Housing Accelerator Fund.
Yeah.
Got any of that money, or I hope to get any of it?
Can we lock that down?
You might have to drive there and pick it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we thank you for watching Kelowna Now, and have a great day.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter.